This is the Queen of Voodoo, Mama Shango, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, everything in between every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers on Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code WRESTLINGWITHE for 10% off your next purchase. I am, of course, your host, that guy, James J., with the leader of Squash Squad, Kaliko Yachts, who isn't here, but who is actually here, the American Scooter Dust.
Shout out to my granny. She's doing so well.
Gotta promote the Nonas. And it's a great day for wrestling. As of last week, we interviewed Mama Shango, who is soon to be a mama herself. That was a really interesting interview, and I'm excited to see what is in store for her coming in the future. You know, wrestling related.
Absolutely. Given that we are the first podcast that she's talked to in quite some time.
Yeah. And the big takeaway, was that, wrestling is still on her radar.
That and don't wrestle while pregnant. Or at least while 7 months pregnant.
Well, nobody told Paige's mother that.
Ooh.
Oh. Send your hate tweets to at James J 993. So, and next week on the show, we have Travis Huckabee on. One of our more interesting interviews, some of the best road stories we've had on the show so far, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. And something else quite rare. You might pick up a sense that Travis might not like me all that much. He's still a great.
No, I think because you're a New Yorker, you're just guilty by association. And if you want to know, if you ever wondered, hey, what My Hero Academia character is Love Doug, you find out on that interview. But don't take our word for it. Here's a small snippet of that interview if you're kind of on the fence about it. Well, speaking of upcoming matches, we did interview Kennedy Copeland a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago to be exact. And she told us to tell you that you are afraid of her, and if you were a real man, you'd wrestle her in the ring.
Oh God.
Your response?
All facts.
I would say Chris Pratt emoji.
Wait. Arts and Rack Chris Pratt emoji or
No.
Yeah. She'll if she's listening to this, she'll know exactly what emoji I mean.
What a great clip. Wouldn't you say, Scooter?
Oh, absolutely. And again, you got to hear the entire interview to really get the full context of what you just heard. You got a little taste, you got a little appetizer. Now you got to go get the entree.
And you might want to listen to the Kennedy Copeland interview kind of before that interview as well, just to set some things up as well. And then the week after that, May 19th, RIP Undertaker and Kane's parents, we have Jules Malone on, the Hardcore Princess, and another Canadian from Canada. another interesting chat with me. I think she's our first deathmatch wrestler, isn't she, Scooter?
No. Kennedy would be considered our first deathmatch. You can also consider Mark Shaw as well.
I mean, true, yeah, he did
Based on
castrate
they've
her.
this is our first
Openly
talent
deathmatch
that
wrestler.
has ultimately made her name on deathmatch wrestling.
Absolutely, and don't miss that interview on May 19th.
2 words: Vagina Staples, which will now be my official new drag name.
Okay then. Last week was also Chad Spectacular's Serenade.
Yes, I'm trying to pull up the results for that right now. Unfortunately, it did not air on IWTV. But again, just because the event has come and gone does not mean you can stop the fight for mental health awareness. Again, this event between Chad and Larry Legend are all into 2 great causes, the Second Line and the Trevor Project. Both just great charities for suicide prevention, anti-bullying, and everything to help battle mental awareness. Can you tell that I'm trying to stretch everything so I can find the results? When
It's okay,
if I
Scooter,
come
we could come back to it.
if I come across them, I will definitely you'll hear me go. No, I don't know what you'll hear me do, but I will keep looking.
Okay then. Another good piece of news as well. Technically not fun of the show, but kind of in essence fun. Pat Buck had a kid on May the 4th.
Yes, as I told you when it happened on May the 4th. Of course, if you haven't heard me say it 10 million times already, Pat Buck, WWE road agent, the man who tried to teach me everything I know about wrestling. I'm a man of few words, but one word you could definitely use to describe him is daddy. Congratulations to him and his wife giving birth to their son Harrison, and yes, he was born on Star Wars Day, and yes, Pat Buck was praying for it.
Well, he's
The,
destined to be a Jedi now, isn't he?
the Force is strong with this one, and he's
I
got a
mean,
nurse.
there's a high midi-chlorian count if he willed that into existence.
I mean, kid's got a nursery decorated in Star Wars. I mean, his midichlorian count is going to be off the scale.
Let's just hope he likes the prequels just as much as the originals. And another thing that we're trying to get over here on Wrestling with Entertainment, if you haven't checked on Twitter, there's something called a wrestling short a day in May, a Twitter hashtag. When I clicked that that hashtag, like, it was not pro wrestling t-shirts, it was amateur wrestling t-shirts. Like, who knew that was still a thing? Um, that upset me, so I created the hashtag pro wrestling shirt a day in May. Uh, so basically, take a picture of the wrestling shirt you got, use the hashtag, and let's try and get a wrestling shirt a day in May a thing for pro wrestling. I've already done one yesterday, and even in front of this, the show Drew has as well. But I didn't see you do one, Scooter. What the hell?
That's because I don't have any more wrestling shirts.
How dare you?
I dress like an adult. No.
I've seen what you wear to sleep, Scooter.
Hey, what I wear to sleep is my own business. And just because you happen to see that banana hammock doesn't mean a thing.
Now, now that we're done getting ourselves over and other shit that we like, 10 minutes into the show already, it's time to talk about bad news, but maybe good news for us. Eva Marie is back.
Oh, good lord. I mean, I swear, somebody up there is looking down on us and is essentially looking to punish us for the names we've used for the worst wrestler question during the 8 Questions of Doom.
I think it's the opposite. I think God is throwing us a bone here.
Well, you know that Eva Marie is going to come back as the most improved ever. You know that. That just has to be. That's just our luck.
I highly doubt that. I mean, she can't be any more better than Lana, and I mean, Lana has been there, actually wrestling and getting and improving. Unless she spent 2 days in the hyperbolic time chamber with Tom Pritchard, The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, all the greatest teachers in wrestling history, I highly doubt she could do a wrist lock, Scooter. No counterpoint?
Um, um, no, no.
Well, some people rejoicing, some people are screaming to the high heavens. One thing that kind of came out of this controversially was that people were saying Mickey James had to get fired for them to bring Eva Marie back. I highly doubt that that's the case, but what say you, Scooter?
I think Eva Marie was in that bag that Mark Carano sent Mickey James, and Mickey James just sent her back.
Seems like there's still some sour grapes with Mickey James, unfortunately.
Yep. Also, as of this broadcast, Daniel Bryan is officially a free agent.
That's correct.
He is not re-signed. The WWE is urging him to re-sign. At this point, I wouldn't blame him if he didn't. He wouldn't have to at this point. I think
How's that so?
I mean, he's did everything he's ever wanted to in his WWE career. I mean, save from winning a Royal Rumble, that would be the only real accomplishment left. But I see if Daniel Bryan doesn't resign with the WWE, then he's not going to sign anywhere.
That's an interesting point. I kind of feel the same way. I don't see Daniel Bryan going to AEW per se. There, I would say the only real possibility for him to go somewhere else is maybe New Japan, and they would have to probably pay him a lot of money, to get him into New Japan.
Oh, without a doubt. I could, and this is gonna transition into our next little piece of news. If you've been paying attention, there is now a working relationship between MLW and NXT.
I heard about that, but I didn't see it actually in play.
It is official, and MLW, maybe on behalf of NXT and the WWE, I'm not sure because nobody has the exact information. But if you've been watching MLW, they've been indicating that a character named El Jefe was essentially the big bad. And then on the, I guess you could call it the season finale of MLW before they resumed taping again in 2 months, El Jefe was revealed to be none other than Lucha Underground's Dario Cueto. And he's revealing that he's building a new temple.
Could we see a Lucha Underground rebrand in the futures for MLW/WWE?
I'm thinking that if they're letting MLW essentially operate as it is, then MLW will probably be renamed, and this will finally mean NXT can really be the third brand.
I already thought it was the third brand.
Yes, but it still has that stigma of, oh, you got to go here before the main roster unless you're really, really special.
Like Eva Marie.
Exactly. And if Daniel Bryan resigns in a non-wrestling role, I probably see him essentially in charge of Yeah, head trainer.
Would make a lot of sense. He still loves wrestling. It's just a matter of, not wanting to put his body through that anymore. And speaking of returns, or maybe he never really left to begin with, Moonsoor made his Raw debut.
Yes, and lost.
Well, I mean, he was kind of up against Sheamus, but did we expect?
But he lost by disqualification. So
I mean, he wasn't pinned, and they took him out of Carbonite. You know, when you're in there too long, you start to get sick, so you have to defreeze them so they could have a match or two, warm up, and then you put them back in Carbonite, and we'll see him on wrestling WWE Trust on A&E in the next week or two, probably. And Jimmy Uso returned last night on SmackDown as
yep.
well.
Yes, and he's already causing trouble as Jimmy is responsible for what will now take place at WrestleMania Backlash as Roman Reigns defends the Universal title against Cesaro.
Now we've been talking, and this will segue probably into another topic of news. We talked about Jay kind of having his coming out party while Jimmy was away, kind of like Show did. Now, and we were kind of saying now that Show's back, Yo is back. How does Show go back? And he went back. They're uh, IWGP Tag Junior Tag Champions. Same question. How does Jay go back to being a tag team with Jimmy?
See that therein lies the question of, do they attempt to roll the dice the same way they did with Jay with Jimmy, which would not make any sense on any sort of level, because there's nobody you could essentially do that with unless you're going through unless you're going to attempt a Jimmy versus Jay match.
How would we even call that? They're twins.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, that's something I would probably see Roman order.
Make Jay crank out the whip, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I could see Roman ordering Jay and Jimmy to fight it out for the right to be next to him at the table. And then you take Jimmy and you do something else with him. Re-gimmick him.
That'd be interesting. How the Uso brothers have a little bit of a singles run.
I mean, I see, Jimmy Uso going the way of, not in life, but in terms of career and push, and Umaga like push. Rebrand him as something, and put him on Raw.
I was gonna say rename him Deacon Jimmy and have him be a preacher.
No.
Yes, absolutely, 100. Another thing I talked about a little bit earlier was showing Yo allegedly, and I say allegedly, tested positive for coronavirus. Um, New Japan postponed their Big Show Wrestling Grand Slam earlier this week. Not as of this taping, I don't believe there's a scheduled redate for that. But
Uh,
12 wrestlers were told not to be um, going forward for the remainder of because of safety risks with coronavirus and whatnot. Scooter, you have a little bit more information on this?
um, yes. Oh no, dang it. Where? Okay. Where I had it here. There it is. Okay. Uh, yes. New Japan announcing 2 members of the roster have tested positive for COVID. Uh, this was released on May 4th. I'm sorry, May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo.
Um, and Sho and Yo are believed to be the 2 that have it, along with, just to name a few, Kazuchika Okada, Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, all got pulled from Wrestling Dontaku. And that that essentially led to the the talent was pulled, and as of right now, Japan is in a state of what's the appropriate word? Disarray. Now New Japan finds themselves flat-footed leading into the Yokohama show on May 15th. This state of emergency that has wiped out 3 of the God, I can't even say it. Karakin? I'm murdering that word. I'm sorry.
I
Correct?
don't know what you're trying to say.
The shows in between Dontaku and Yokohama, which I'm assuming were part of the Grand Slam. It's basically it's a huge cluster. It's a huge clusterfuck right now.
Right. It seemed like, New Japan was doing good with their, coronavirus protocols and safeties and whatnot. They've been back for roughly around a year now. And this was their first major, scare. Do you see that this is a fault of their own, or just, just some bad timing, or just what's the word for it? A controlled incident.
Schadenfreude, maybe. Given what's essentially down the road, I mean, a ladder match for the custody of the Iron Fingers from Hell between Tama Tonga and Tai Chi. Yano, yeah,
And Evil,
yes, Yano and Evil.
the
with,
blindfold match. That was a good
yeah,
match. Alright.
I mean, this is just. I'm at a loss for words here.
So, the big name out of all of that is Kazuchika Okada. Bad timing, obviously. He was supposed to go wrestle Will Ospreay at Wrestle Grand Slam. Bad timing, bad juju. What's the future for Okada right now?
I mean, given that Okada was name dropped this past Wednesday on Dynamite by Don Callis,
I hardly thought that means anything.
of course it doesn't.
Because it came out of Don Callis' mouth.
I mean, how do you know when Don Callis is lying? His mouth is moving. Okada will recover.
Even if, and it's not confirmed that he actually has anything. As of right now, it just seems like it's a precaution so he doesn't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, I mean, they were exhibiting symptoms. That's all that can be said right now.
Right. Somebody that's also exhibiting symptoms is NXT and AEW, as the rumors are kind of killed for Tessa Blanchard coming to either of those companies. There was heavy rumors that the diamond gimmicks in NXT,
The Diamond Mine, the MMA.
the diamond mind was Tessa Blanchard. But they said that wasn't to be, if you believe who said this. Scooter, do you think we'll ever see Tessa Blanchard on TV again?
Not on WWE TV, that's for sure.
What about AEW TV?
Probably not either.
So the answer is no.
The answer is a hard no.
Makes you wonder who's the diamond mine now.
It looks like it's not about the return of any particular superstar.
Just somebody new.
No.
Oh, a return.
No. A division.
Oh my god, are you saying that this is a brawl for all?
Nobody exactly knows except that it is a concept. It is not about the return of a particular female superstar. This could be. I mean, it could be a female-only division, but why would you advertise it on NXT? This is more than likely probably. If I can say anything, my assumption is something akin to the Mae Young Classic,
Yeah. Alright.
or maybe even Queen of the Ring.
Yeah. Queen of the Ring. Alright. Conclude our news for tonight. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.